Yay!
It worked.
It worked finally.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm starting my... Oh, no. There's a point to what I'm doing. That's why I had to hide certain things.
Are you checking to make sure our audio's working?
Yes. I'm sorry, all my apps are in alphabetical order. When you change the channel, you change it to a T.
Wait.
So, does that mean your murder porn apps are...
Hey, Dragon Zeron.
On M?
Our audio's working?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
So, welcome to...
What's up, everyone? I'm the Kamen from the Toku Animation News Network here with...
Corellica Kane, who decided, while live streaming, I'll actually do her regular job.
And...
No,
Silver Quill, who's just sort of leaning against the sofa, and I realize I'm really receding into the background here. You got walleye vision on this thingy?
Do I got what?
Walleye vision?
I don't know. It's got some sort of vision.
But does it have a vision for the few?
But look at this. I have a separate computer screen for my laptop. It's so cool. It's nice to be able to go on the go and have two separate computer screens.
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yes. And don't worry, I'm facing it down so that I am not actually working while sharing my infinite wisdom with people.
Infinite wisdom on Kamen Rider, Gavv.
All right. So, yes, ignore the mess behind us. If you've been paying attention, we're currently moving to Florida, so there is stuff everywhere.
Even apparently Silver Quill's head, who's gonna flip off apparently. Well, you should have seen it earlier. So I was hugging my loving husband because I was wrong about something. So I was hugging him in shame to hide myself. And Silver Quill decided to make the comment, well, why don't I give you and Kaiju a hug? He goes in for the kill. And my loving husband nearly takes off my head with his abdomen to escape. I thought I saw my life flash before my eyes, and
get back.
It was terrifying. I don't know what to do. I don't know who I would blame for murder, either Silver Quill or Kaiju.
But why are you making a cross at me for giving a hug? I mean, I'm doing the Buddy Christ right here.
But Dragon Zeron, I know you said hello, so everyone say hello.
Hello.
And then we also have VA Games and Jake Schuster. Happy birthday! Or should we say it like O's?
Oh,
happy birthday!
Dragon Zeron, will this be your last stream before Florida? I don't think so. We'll probably try to squeeze another one.
What will I? Will it be the last stream featuring
Silver Quill?
It should not be.
It could be.
Because you're going to temporarily move in with us.
No,
right?
he's not. Oh, hell no.
Oh, I'm being kicked to the curb in Florida.
No.
Any Florida fans can give me a ride back to Colorado?
I would never kick you out.
I appreciate that. You say that now, though, but just wait until you see enough of my puns.
I've seen enough of your puns.
Yeah, she cringes all the time I watch your pun of the day.
Have you seen my pun for today?
Actually, we haven't seen the last week.
Oh.
Last one I actually think...
Cut me to the quick.
I think the last one I actually got to watch was the corpse one.
The one that you found so hilarious?
Yes.
Open mic night?
Yep.
Okay.
But
speaking of corpses,
we are at...
That's strangely apropos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, damn. This is... First we go like Old Yeller up in this place.
Is this going to be like the bodies hit the floor? The bodies hit the floor with Twister.
Well, that's episode 41 of Gavv. So if you didn't read, we are covering episodes 38 to 41 of Gavv.
Whoa.
So last time we had...
last time. That doesn't work
quite.
automatically. Last time
we just met the one who kidnapped Hunto's mother. There's the reason
Kenji.
she died.
Mr. Kenji. which was it. And this episode really goes into, again, questioning, are killers redeemable if they're doing it in a situation?
You mean drug addicts?
Well, not just drug addicts,
Because
but
he didn't actually kill his mother.
He abducted her.
he abducted her, but he did. So, in legal terms, he would still be culpable for murder,
Involuntary manslaughter?
involuntary manslaughter, or second degree, or premeditated, because he knew what the result would be.
Oh, but it was a woman, not a man, therefore he's off. Oh, I'm such a good lawyer.
Okay, Diddy.
But
Objection!
the question is, do people who commit capital offenses deserve redemption? I really think this episode asked that question in a way. And as you as a survivor, do you still have the right to seek revenge as well?
I'm going to counter that.
Certainly.
Mostly because one thing I've come to understand is that people don't always understand forgiveness or what it means.
Very fair.
So I would say we've got three themes running throughout the entirety of Gavv.
Mm-hmm.
The first is the toxic nature of revenge and anger. We see that in Shuta. No, the surviving twin.
Oh, yeah.
Jeeb.
Jeeb. I'm getting all mixed up. We see that in Jeeb and their continual decline. Doesn't help that their so-called spouse is a sociopath. So the toxic nature of revenge, the burden of secrets, because everybody's keeping a secret at some point in this show. And then the forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is not the same as redemption.
No.
A lot of people tend to use forgiveness interchangeably with very distinct concepts, especially reconciliation. They think,
like what they did with Thouser and 01.
oh boy, I was actually thinking of how badly that character was botched today. So a lot of people assume that forgiveness is welcoming the person who hurt you back into your life. That's not the case.
No.
You can forgive someone and never want to see them again, ever, 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 ever.
Well, and that's very true, because the one thing that I've learned through my many bouts of therapy, which have always failed because most of my therapists just don't deal well with my level of nightmare, is, and I say that jestingly because you have to have a good relationship with your therapist. But forgiveness is not for the other person either. Forgiveness is solely an individual thing. Just because you forgive someone, it's not to help them feel better. It's to help you feel better. Like, I will admit, I still to this day, and he is dead.
Good riddance.
I have never forgiven my stepfather.
Fuck that.
However, I have forgiven my mother. That doesn't, and there's two parts of it that I think you were saying, and there's something I take with it. There's forgive, but not forget.
I guess that's another thing people just tend to chain together with an assumption. And with that warped view on what forgiveness is, or rather what it's not, we've got a lot of grudges running around.
Well, I liked how, though, we had at the beginning, when Shoma's like, well, he's really nice to the kid. And he's like, yeah, but he's responsible for my mother's death. And Sachika looks so shocked at that.
Well, Sachika, unfortunately, over these last couple episodes, has gotten sort of the double barrel blast of what life with
the reality.
Well, I feel like even though we don't know anything about her family life, I took from it this episode and then later that everyone she's cared for like truly cared for, familial, or whatever that may be, still exists somewhere. Which, to her as a character, that's an interesting concept, especially for Japan. Because a lot of Japanese media, you either have one parent dead, or both parents dead, or both parents across the ocean in America. I don't know why all Japanese parents come to America.
They're avoiding death.
But you very rarely have, and you do some series. I've seen one of a great series I like, which is an anime. It's called Kimi ni Todoke, and it's a shoujo manga anime. But the main character, she has both of her parents, and the relationship between the three of them is actually astounding, which is a rarity in a lot. So I say that because it makes me wonder what Sachika comes from, because obviously she has Scrooge McDuck level of wealth.
Well, but unlike Kimi needs a Daki.
Kimi ni Todoke.
Right. Kim needs a Daki.
Okay, moving on.
We're done. Well, but the fact that she spends that trying to help other people, instead of dealing with her terrible color blindness, which is still the only way I can really figure out her design style of her home. There are so many colors in there. I'm amazed the staff hasn't gone flash blind.
I still love her pink chainsaw.
Oh, yes. Surprised the dynamite she pulled out last time wasn't.
I
pink
know.
as well.
I was actually like surprised. I'm like, how can you not have pink
So-
dynamite?
But
So when we have Shoma goes to Rakia and it's like tells him everything. And he's like, well, of course I totally would kill him. I can forgive everyone except that one person.
we'll get to that shortly.
And then, but Shoma's like, you didn't seem convincing.
Like you're trying to, you're trying to tell yourself that.
Well, and I think what was amazing but frustrating for Kenji, who was the person responsible, even if not directly the one who killed her, responsible for it, I do have to say my frustration with him, not the writing, just the character itself in the show, is that he's so willing to give it all up. And it makes me think of people who go through AA or NA, Narcotics Anonymous.
I was thinking about not anime.
No. I think of those individuals who they have varying steps. And one of the steps is forgiveness, to obtain forgiveness. Another one is to accept what you've done.
Well, and then we have Hanto asks the kid, "Oh, what do you think? What do you think of Kenji?" And the kid's like, "Oh, he's the greatest person ever. I want him to teach me."
I'm setting myself up for emotional disappointment in the very near future.
Very much so.
And then, so then when we have our pseudo fight between the two, when Hanto transforms, I'm like, okay, he's not going to actually kill him, but someone's going to show up and kill him for him at the last second. So when he does his whole shoot thing and he's leaving, I'm like, okay, someone's going to show up to kill him now. Okay, nobody showed up to kill him.
Oh.
All right, sure, why not?
Well, for me, I was thinking of the Dukes of Hazzard. You got the chocolate ball of death, which, by the way, that's not the worst way to go.
No.
It'd be a sweet death.
And it'd be like, well, what are those Dukes going to do? Check back after the break. And then you find out the angle of the camera. Oh, turns out we faked out. It was never coming close.
And then we had a pretty cool fight between Shoma, Rakia, and Jeeb, with Jeeb, as I'm calling it, the Kamen Friar. form because because it's the
Potato sticks.
yeah, I think they're dried potatoes.
Yeah, dried potato sticks.
But
because they sell them here.
because they look like fries, so I'm like, oh, Kamen and Fryer.
Although it could also just have a monk rope. Yeah,
But I liked how some of them looked like could be used as javelins.
Well, when he impaled Gavv on both shoulders.
I know.
Although I will say that part though, the angling changed between frames because they hit Gavv right here, but then when it goes to the other camera flips and it's close up, they're directly here.
That's just the power of his pecs. Yeah.
But we have Gavv just wipes the floor.
Yeah, that was the shortest lived. I've got a new power.
Well, yeah, I would. Well, and it's so funny because wifey makes a comment, "Do your worst." And usually when somebody's saying "do your worst," they're empowering them to kick ass. No, apparently she willed it into action that he does his worst.
And she's doing all this because she just loves his suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to talk about, actually, Sachika is a good counter to this wife from hell, which is only partial hyperbole. You have someone who may indeed have a very wealthy background that she can afford to do a business more for fun and fulfillment than financial survival. And this daddy's girl who's always had things on a silver platter, more on the platters later. Great contrast in them. And her relationship with the others compared to what Jeeb has to suffer. I actually feel sorry for Jeeb. Still in the wrong, but when you've got a demon whispering in your ear the whole time, how are you supposed to make a choice?
And then our next episode, which kicks off the two-parter.
Wait, I'm sorry, but we did. Someone did show up to.
Oh
kill
yes.
I was gonna say, so during the episode, Glota gets kind of called out that she's not meeting the demands of El Presidente.
Viva El Presidente!
So she is given a list.
Checks it twice.
Of all the underperformers. And clearly, somebody special from this episode is an underperformer, a reformed drug addict. So she walks around, apparently, from what she says. She sees Mr. Kenji locking up for the night. He sees her and he's like, Glota. And she's like, I finally found you. And
he is done quickly.
And that's so actually disappointing. You had this whole emotional state. You had him. And if there were follow-up to this, I'd be more invested. But the way I see it right now, we're not going to revisit that
which disappoints me because I was kind of hoping in the next episode they would learn that he was... Yeah, they would learn that he was killed because I personally think some sort of follow-up would have made that whole situation more impactful because one of the things that I would like to see for character growth for Hanto is how he reconciles the person he forgave, not forgot, but forgave, still is dead, but not by his own hands, but by the villains.
In a sense, his past caught up to him, but just after he seemed to have settled with the past. Hanto is not best buds with this guy now.
No.
He just says, if you go back to your old ways, I will take care of you.
But the ground you is dead. Now you have to live this life.
But I did love though that when I was like, oh, he's not going to die, and then at the end I'm like, oh, he is going to die. Okay, cool.
Oh, I figured no matter what he was going to die because he did, admittedly, from all of my experience with tokusatsu, he raised every flag that is denounced of death that you could possibly raise.
I don't have a doom flag, but I would be waving it.
And then now our next two-parter.
Well, do you want to look at any comments first?
Let's cover this and then we'll do
Okay.
comments. So our two-parter brings in Glota learning that Dente is still alive.
Great Uncle Dente.
Whose first name should be Al.
Mm-hmm. Don't call me.
But we've
Al.
got so Shoma and them go to visit Dente, and they decide they're going to have a freshly made pudding party.
Well, mainly because he's whining on the ground because he really wants to try the really cool puddings that he's seen at restaurant. And they're like, and Shoma and Sachika are like, I understand. And then Rakia's like, well, he can't exactly go. And Sachika's like, oh yeah, we kind of told everybody about Granules. And then they have this imaginary scene where they all see the same thing of him trying to enjoy a pudding and the slowest reaction by everybody around. Because my reaction to, holy shit, there's a monster in there, would it be when he's enjoying the dish he served?
Itadakimasu.
It would be when the motherfucker walks in.
But he starts to eat his food. People freak out, throw things at him. ICE comes running in and illegally arrests him, detains him.
Yeah, we all said
technically ICE.
Not technically, but the spirit is there.
It is an illegal alien.
But technically, although he's not hurting anyone, and he's actually contributed to.
He's still an illegal alien.
Just like most illegal aliens.
Public defense. But no, these guys come in. They got no identification. They just start shooting.
They just shoot him and kidnap him.
And I know these episodes are filmed in advance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious of how far in advance this was filmed, just to know if all the ICE shit was going on in America.
These episodes should have been filmed back in March and April, I think.
Was anything going on for ICE back then?
No.
Oh, dang.
All I know is that if the Ice Bucket Challenge comes back this year, there's going to be a very different take.
But anyway, so they decide to have this pudding party. They go out to buy fresh
and you watch
ingredients.
Them cooking it.
And, no, the funniest scene was when Sachika and Rakia go into that shop looking for the dishes. And Rakia's like, no, that was not tasty enough.
I didn't know he ate metal. I thought it was just rock.
No, remember Dente would just eat the entire thing?
So there's, I guess, anything with minerals in it. Metal has minerals.
But yeah, when he's like, it's not tasty enough. It's not tasty enough. And the owners are like, you have such good taste, but they're confused by, what do you mean tasty?
Well, and then they're like, what about this one? Oh, that one has too many acids on it.
It's too acidic.
And then they're like, what? And he just like raises to cover his face.
This sucks. That's all his catchphrase.
And then they make their pudding, which I feel like Rakia was just to be the bolsterer for the entire time they were cooking.
Well, you have to bolster their efforts.
And then Glota, she finds out about Dente being alive, goes to talk to him. He starts saying, yeah, you were the one who actually cared the most about the family. And she kills him.
Can we point out that he got outed by like the most unfortunate contrivance of a tablet?
Oh God, yes.
Since at least several months ago.
I was gonna say since the Ashley Madison hack.
I was thinking of since the drunken text chain of military secrets.
Oh God.
Or the politician who
she knocks
shared
Niev's tablet out of his hand, and it ends up fritzing up and showing that Dente's alive.
And she sees that he's alive. She's like, I don't remember Great Uncle ever playing with a keyboard while in our place in a garden that looks suspiciously like Earth. Oh.
And she was pissed. Well, she came in hot because of the fact that Jeeb was experimented on just like Shoma was.
To have the black Gavv.
And so she was mad about that.
Because she didn't get a say in it.
And I hate to break it to her, but it's not her choice.
But meanwhile, her brother is like, I can't get a moment's peace around here.
Well, exactly, because the psychopath is always getting interrupted.
And then
I understand this fellow psychopath.
So she kills Dente just as Shoma and them were walking into.
Sachika's face, though, was so heartbreaking.
Now, we've had like 3 fake out deaths for Dente. So when this one finally took, I was like, did she just KO him? Because I'm really over this.
Because he had a big slice in his chest going all the way up.
And the best parts, it's just like a Jerry Springer moment. Rakia sees this slash and then he's like, you're the murderer.
Well,
for Kamen.
But he's like, you told me you didn't kill Kamen. She's like, well, I guess then I must have. But yeah, I don't remember
I know.
him.
I thought that was such a bullshit answer.
I'll take Heartless Bitch for 100.
Right.
Like, oh, who knew that I was the one who actually killed him?
Oh my God. When she said that, I'm like, bitch.
Although I will say I take some heart that it was not just Rakia's brother that tried to walk away, and not just our dearly departed wolf who got old Yellard. Last time I mentioned that I had started playing God of War Ragnarok, and the game started with a boy saying goodbye to his wolf. And then it happened again. I don't know why my life keeps coming in on this particular theme. I don't suppose we could transfer his soul into someone else.
So, how many times have you seen Old Yeller?
Once is already too many.
I will agree with that.
I've never seen it.
I've read it.
I just know the ending.
I don't think I could read it.
Okay, slight tangent, but why does so much of school curriculum involve reading a story about a boy watching his dog die?
I had to read The Scarlet Letter.
I read Where the Red Fern Grows, Old Yeller. There was this one of a snow sled race, and this little dog, his poor heart gives out.
You read way too many books about dogs dying.
None of this was by choice. These were assigned readings from a school system that clearly wants me to lose my innocence.
I read Huckleberry Finn.
Okay, so I got to read in school.
Oh, shut up! You got to read cool books. Nobody cares.
Animal Farm, Martian Chronicles.
We didn't read Animal Farm.
Something Wicked This Way Comes. Fahrenheit 451.
We
The Lost World.
Y'all go to heaven.
You didn't read Fahrenheit 451 in school?
Oh, I did, but that was like in high school. I'm talking like this was earlier.
Oh, elementary school. I read Goosebumps.
4th and 5th grade, most like
Well, that's when I read all of the Mark Twain books.
When all the dogs die.
Well, we read. Let's see. What did we read?
Well, Mark Twain and I read.
Let's see. We read
Charles Dickens books.
We read The Giver. We read Hatchet. Blue Dolphin.
What the hell is Hatchet?
A book.
Clearly.
We read. I think it's called Hatchet. We read Blue Dolphin of the Island, or Island of Blue Dolphins, or something like that. The Boy Who Went into the Girl's Bathroom.
What? Okay, he's reading books about dogs dying, and you're reading books about premeditated arrests.
I don't know. But anyway, so
Jesus.
I just don't. All these parents like, I don't want my kids reading LGBTQ plus propaganda. Lady, I've read about dogs dying. You shut the hell up.
I read a book that referenced my childhood with Scarlet Letter. I actually asked my mom, can I put an A on you? Because apparently that's the thing.
But so Glota kicks Rakia's ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have part two, which has Glota using some fragrance that she was given from Longo's gas to kidnap people.
Which is like the toxin.
And everyone's still having the fallout from Dente's death, especially Sachika.
Oh, yeah, she took an artist.
And then, but they have new puddings, their puddings, to celebrate his life.
I really appreciated Shoma in this, saying, "I want to do it now, while Dente is fully with us. Spirit is with us in our hearts." I mean, it's forceful but empathetic, and that's a hard balance. I'm still having flashbacks to Gotcha Man, where the guy smacks a girl around, saying, "Don't you want to avenge your father?" God, that guy was an ass.
Black Condor.
No, it was
Condor.
the eagle. It was the main character.
The red one?
Yeah, he's the ass.
I just remember the black one constantly pressing the missiles.
Oh yeah,
They're like, you can fire 2 missiles.
well, he had his thing, but no, it was.
Okay, I remember what episode. Jesus, we started to watch that before COVID happened, and then we never got to finish it because of COVID.
Also because it was a product of its time, but
For
also
what?
he's an ass.
Gotcha, man.
Oh.
I still need to actually watch it so I can review it.
Yeah,
Don't put yourself out on my account.
Pre-Sentai.
I love that. Don't put yourself.
All right, but anyway, so we've got, and it turns out Dente left them all a message, and one of them, and the message he left for Rakia informs him that he has created his cure that he wanted him to work on, and then Shoma does the dumbest thing when they find Glota. When he gets told, finds out he doesn't have enough of his gochuzos in his jar, he calls them, and they come from behind Glota.
Well,
And she's just like, whoop!
but they also have their angel wings out, so did she just kill their souls? But, okay, is that on Shoma, though, or is that on the Gochizos?
I would say yes.
So it's like, yeah, Shoma, next time check your ammo count.
Well, and that's what she even says. This is what you get for being unprepared.
What really it is, this is what you did so we can set up another hero transformation.
Well, one thing, we kind of skipped one thing that happened before this. And it's the sweetest thing ever because Sachiga is really heartbroken about Great Uncle Dente's passing. Like, significantly. She created this bond, and like I said before, I don't think she's either truly lost somebody or maybe she's always had herself in a position where she walked away before something bad happened. But nonetheless, it hit her hard. And one thing Shoma does with Hanto's help, which I appreciate Hanto, even though he's not a sweets person, as a goodbye, they all eat some of the pudding that was made. And I thought that was a wonderful way to memorialize somebody that you lost.
Also, Hunto tries to be that comforting support, but he misses grieving etiquette.
Oh,
You hand a lady a tissue, not a handkerchief.
That was a little bit later.
I thought it was before.
no, it was before.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, because I thought it was when she was on the computer.
Oh,
After
because
when they had already,
that's when Shoma goes to.
when they had
Rocket.
already left, because Glota, they're looking Glota, and she's like, I never realized how bad your battle was until now.
Well, yeah, because she even openly admits.
And
I never thought about how much all of you have lost that you had to overcome. So I thought that was important for the prior episode where she gets yelled at by Hanto unintentionally. It's more of his outburst that she didn't know how to handle it. And now being on the receiving end of somebody that she cared about being taken away, she now can, sadly, because nobody ever wants to truly know how somebody feels in that instance. Like, I don't know how anybody feels having a family member that was taken away from them through a violent act. And at the same time, I have to say selfishly, I don't know if I ever want to know what that feels like.
Though it does speak very highly of Sachika and Shoma and everybody that when they're in pain, they don't go the route of no one can appreciate how I feel. That if anything, they open up and they empathize with one another. I
do have to feel Rakia had a moment like that because he's all in his feels, which once again justified. But he yells at Shoma about, aren't you upset? Aren't you sad? Your uncle was just killed. And Shoma has a very clear head, which I appreciate because he's been the clearest of all of the revenge, so to speak, of the series. He's like, no, I am beyond sad. I am definitely that way. However, I can't go into my own feelings and not forget there's other people to protect.
Well, and then we get introduced to. Wait, is this is the one?
This is where we get the parfait form.
Oh,
yes.
Oh my god, I forgot though.
But another thing that happened in this episode.
Oh, hold on a minute. Going back to the previous one with Kamen Fry, the fight scene as they're going through the factory at top speed, it was pretty awesome.
Well, that was all drone.
Especially when you have Shoma on top of that tower as the camera's just like from a distance of him just like this there. That was pretty awesome.
But what I was going to say is I did like how after Rakia and Shoma talked to each other about all of this, and Rakia has the phone with him still with the chips bag that has all the video, he even thinks about the fact that Dente also once upon a time betrayed Shoma. Because he's the reason he has the Gavv belt in the first place. Because Dente was the one who put it on him. And so Dente is also the reason dark confections exist in the first place. So he's even like, wow, back to your comment about forgiveness, he's like, Shoma forgave him. But I think it also goes into the fact that doesn't necessarily mean Shoma forgot what he did.
He didn't forget, but Rakia is even able to better empathize with Dente and recognize his own wrongdoings. It's like, so yeah, it's a pretty strong theme in this series.
Yes,
but we get Vram's brand new form,
a la mode.
Which was pretty interesting. I loved the fight with Glota. It was so well shot. Glota was really badass in that scene. And of course, she's got a scythe, so that's
the deadliest farming instrument available. Although, actually, it did make me think of the first episode this season when you had the actor for Vram hook his foot into railing and kind of dangle there. And then there was Shoma, Gavv's suit actor who positioned himself between containers.
The shipping
and had the hanging fight.
Oh yeah, I feel so bad for these suit actors.
They had to get some uncomfortable positions.
Well, and sometimes when you see the characters doing this in different positions, especially when they're suited up, sometimes I feel bad because it takes me out of the immersion because all I'm thinking is, oh my God, the workers' comp these suit actors have to go through.
But yeah, that was pretty awesome though when they're hanging down. And then, they defeat Glota. And at first I was like, there's no body, so she's not dead.
Well, may I just, a few moments of that fight I'd like to highlight?
Yes, please.
3 of them. First one is when both Glota and Vram are hanging there. Vram just back chucks his weapon and hits her. He's not even looking.
No. I was like, wow.
Now then she lands and she looks up and he's on a craze all like, sup. Catches his weapon, shoots. And then we finally get the return of the cake form and the cake minions because, they ran through all the higher levels, But that cake form doesn't disappear when it's done. So that's the one power up that won't go away.
But yeah, that fight was really, really cool. And then we also had Hanto fighting the minions for the.
I love how the briefcase. He's like looking for it, and then it's hanging on the back of his Choco stick.
Was it a sticker? Because I thought it was a straw.
Straw.
But, well, okay. The funniest thing also, though, about Ram's new form was the cherry on top.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Victory with the cherry on top.
Well, I did like how when you watch him go through the full transformation and you see that cherry just plop, and I was like, oh my God, that's going to look so stupid with how the way they showed it, animation wise, so to speak. And then when you see it and it almost looks like a blade coming out of a little blob, I was like, that actually looks kind of cool.
Ram is probably the coolest looking of the confectionery forms. Just trying to think.
My favorite form is the ice cream form for Gavv. I like the texturing of the cone
and the waffle. And well, I'm trying to think of chocolate's form was also pretty cool. Valen, but well,
named after Valentine's Day, which he hates.
Well, either which way, there are a lot of fun forms, but there are only a few cool forms.
On that note, go to some. Well, then we have our final scene. Glota hobbling along on dying, gets caught by Longo.
By a mysterious person who he just spoiled.
And then she's like, oh, of course, the first person I'm going to see in death is you.
Well, I mean, the shot was of boots with a chain running under the heel. Nobody dresses that unnecessarily unless they're an edgy enemy antagonist.
But we also knew he was alive because he doesn't disintegrate in the opening credits.
But Glota does in the next episode.
All right, so let's go through.
So both sisters have died. So I am going to go Dragon Zeron. I am so behind on Gavv. I need to binge it soon.
Oh, well, we've spoiled a lot for you. Sorry.
Yes. I will say this is a series.
Well, I think he would know that we were going to be talking about it in here.
One thing I will say about Gavv at this point in time is it feels like it can be a bingeable series. Like, after we got through the last episode, all I wanted to do was watch the next episode, and it doesn't exist in the ether for regular consumption yet. The A-Game say still have to watch more of 01. I haven't watched it in a month or so, and I'm on like episode 15-ish or somewhere around that.
Oh.
Wow. You talk like me when I'm watching a show. Like, I think I'm around this episode. And then I go, or when I'm trying to make him download an episode of Nana, and it's like, it's this episode, I promise you. Then he downloads that episode, like, okay, maybe it's this episode. And he gets to download like 8 episodes before he's like, fuck it, I am just going to figure this out myself.
And then it ended up being the next disc.
Mm-hmm. So then we have Lonely Sniper. Hello.
Don't be lonely. I'm sure you'll have lots of police around you soon.
And they say Gavv continues to be great, but I'm more invested in Go Junior.
Go, winner, number one.
I am not caring for Go Junior.
And they also say Sachika is a good supporting character. I just wish they could have done more with her.
I think they've done a lot with her.
I feel like they've done a lot with her, but one of the mysteries that I would like to have solved is if she truly is Scrooge McDuck, or...
I just want to know if she's actually, as he said, colorblind or not.
My thing is, she's done a great job as a support to the male characters, but she has not had her own ambition throughout this story. Having her come to a realization and finding a way to achieve a personal goal would be a nice touch.
Yes, because we now got to see her grow as a character through trauma. And that is an interesting character growth. It is great for storytelling. But I do agree. It would be nice to see even if it was in a special or something, what drove her to do Happy Palace, which is really not a palace. It is, even for me, terrifying. And then we have easily the best female support since Kiriko. Kiriko is...
Drive. The cop lady.
Okay, I will agree with that. I thought she did a good job.
What about Kaoru and Garo?
I would actually say the chickadee in Double.
The chickadee.
I can't remember.
Akiko.
Akiko. With her slipper of doom.
See, I actually thought I guess it also doesn't help that most of the female characters in the last several series have been writers, not just there for support.
I haven't ruled out that she might yet get maybe she'll get the gun driver from our next villain.
Oh God, maybe she'll get the writer form in the summer movie.
I just remember the bouncing bubbles that show the different writer forms in the opening, and hers are always empty. It's like, there's got to be something to put in there.
I don't want her to be a writer, though. I'm sick of the supporting cast becoming writers. One thing I will say that I do applaud the series is they haven't gone writer crazy.
I don't know. There's still a lot of writers. It's just that they come and exit very fast.
Like Jebba.
But, well, he'll be back as a writer next episode.
No, but it's still.
But no, the fact that we haven't had, not every villain has had a writer form. Glota didn't get a writer belt.
And they still have Monsters of the Week in a way.
Mm-hmm.
They're not writers.
So I like that too. And then, let's see.
I need to go. Damir Finney says, please check
Hello.
Hi, sorry. Please check the rumors for Kamen Rider Zestfully Clean. I'm just calling it that.
You stole my idea.
And then Lonely Sniper says 38 is a great episode when it comes to emotional weight. However, the ending is garbage.
When they kill.
I don't agree. I thought it was.
They also say then Glota dusts the dude. The A game and actually I like how they put this. 38 the Decado D 39B 40S 41A. Is S supposed to be like...
That's his rank tier.
Yeah.
ranking.
I don't know what S means. Is it like S
superior?
Tier? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I looked up a website about how many books feature dogs dying that you read in school. And there were, 1, a lot. 2,
apparently people want to be traumatized as children.
And but one person put support this great theory. Maybe they make us read these to see which psychopath kids don't cry.
Oh, my husband.
If the kids ain't crying, then you might want to keep an eye on that one growing up.
Why would I cry over a fictional dog?
Because you can picture it happening to your dog,
but it
doesn't exist.
It happens to real dogs. So a fictional dog dying is not going to do anything because real dogs die too.
And so the A game says Baki Baki 6 is the form name for Jeb's bitter Gavv.
Yep.
And then
Jeep.
Here, Silver Quill, do you want to read the next comment?
All right.
With flourish. Lonely Sniper.
It makes Honto's arc moot. It's supposed to portray Honto's arc as he slowly accepts Granoots despite the sins that there's a lot of Lonely Snipers.
Right here. The one that says Jeep did not even...
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to do a different voice just for me up. Jeep did not even get a damn W with his debut. I wish they could have given him a proper debut film.
Actually, I love the fact that they didn't give him a proper...
I love that because he got his ass whipped. Shows that he is still not worthy enough to take on Gavv.
But it also is something different for a Kamen Rider because typically... Actually, it's different for all of Tokusatsu because typically when you have a power-up form or a new character that comes in as a rider or a ranger, they come in balls to the wall, kick ass and everything, and they own everyone on the field. This time, we have a brand new rider come on the field, and he is
Oh my god, that would have been funny actually if they had changed up for Goju Polar. He's acting all big and bad, but then the moment they got into the battle,
He ran away.
he gets his ass whooped. He's just like, yeah, I am. Ah!
I thought that was Gokai Silver for a minute. But I am going to finish reading what I was originally quoting.
Yes, sir.
Lonely Sniper points out that the death of the reformed Granute, it cheapens Hanto's arc, makes it moot. It's supposed to portray Hanto's arc as he slowly accepts Granute's despite the sins they bear. Then Junko turns into the biggest middle finger in the series.
I don't know if I could agree with that. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but he forgave the guy.
Yep.
So therefore, that storyline was done.
Well, and it's not like we would have seen the character again, in my opinion.
And
Anyways.
we don't know. And it's always possible that we might hear about him dying later on.
Also, why is your screen so red?
Because
I have
filters it.
blue light filter on. Do you want me to turn it off?
No, it's fine. I'm just, you're such a big fan of murder stories that even your phone paints everything red.
Let me read. All right. Let's see.
It's good for your eyes.
Episode 39. I will miss Dente. Why did he have to go? I mean, I'm fine. Another thing I hate about Gav's second half is Glota suddenly going.
I think that is kind of because you're at the point of the series where you kind of need to start weeding out characters.
She also
Didn't have a lot more to add.
Well,
No.
she killed Dente, so there was no coming back from that.
No.
There was no redemption from that point.
No, because Dente was great uncle of the year.
And I like that. Because when he is telling her that you can redeem yourself, you can always
You
join
have
Shoma.
another brother.
And
From another mother.
And instead of going that route that 01 did, she's like, no, I don't want this, and kills him. So that was the point where it's like, yeah, there is no redemption for her. She's gonna have to die. It's just like, because you're caught up on Gojutsu, right?
Yeah.
Kuan, after what he just did in this episode, people are like, oh, Kuan will never be redeemed after this. I'm like, no, they'll still find a way to redeem him because he didn't physically kill anyone.
He just,
But he didn't blow up a planet.
well, people have been forgiven for blowing up planets. Hi, Vegeta.
Well, no,
Hey,
that's why.
The Kuma thing was forgiven for murdering.
Well, that was a story.
But well, no, because that's just why they decided that Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, had to die. She had blown up a planet. There was no way to redeem her from after that.
Well, clearly they did.
Well, then it turned out that wasn't actually Jean. It was the Phoenix stopped being Jean, and Jean was still at the bottom of the bay, safe in a cocoon. And oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
The A Game said what I read in school was a book series called Found or something by Margaret Peterson. Hadixas, a book series basically like 2 to 3 siblings, and the books include time travel in some way.
Huh.
Episode 40, I liked Rakia's final form, but it looked more like the final form that one of the Gotchard's final forms would be using.
Oh.
Basically, the tertiary rider in Gotchard had a final form that was mainly silver.
Yes, but did he have a cherry on top?
No, oh. I said, no, I did mean episode 38 for Kamen Friar. I just remembered, I forgot to talk about that one sequence back when we were talking about episode 38.
Oh, here's a child story where the horse dies.
Black Beauty? Or is it Black Stallion?
A horse came running,
Oh,
1970.
I've not read that one.
Yeah, we really like to traumatize our kids in these stories.
Yeah, because I was like, I read Black Beauty and
10 out of 10, Silver Quill fell on reading the chat.
10 out of 10.
All right.
I love that when people say, even when I screw up, people say I do the best screw ups.
isn't that a compliment?
Episode 41,
I'm too flawed to fail.
the biggest revelation.
Dun, dun,
Dun! The sweet shop owner that Shoma has been shopping at may actually be his uncle.
His father's cousin, son's second roommate.
And what does that mean?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
No, it'd be fun. It would be. I mean, at that point, we really are in a soap opera. Welcome to All My Writers. As the writer turns.
Well, I like when Hanto goes to Inoue's house, and every time I hear Inoue, I don't think of the character in the show. I think of the writers. And so when he goes to Inoue's house, he rings the doorbell, and then he knocks on the door. And I'm like, wow, they're so polite and everything else. But when they come to somebody's house, they need to make sure they're there.
But apparently they don't have very trustworthy neighbors. Like, oh, here, you can find him at his shop. It's at this address. By the way, his social security number and credit card is...
I know. I was like, when he rings the doorbell and then knocks, I'm like, dude, just politely ring the doorbell again. If nobody answers, it doesn't mean you start knocking.
But, and by the way, if you need to get into his bank account, I know that too.
At least he didn't come up and start trying to open up his door first.
Sometimes they do that, but they announce I'm coming in.
Okay, we do that at David's because he knows we're coming over.
And he tells us to.
But outside of when I was a kid and I was going to friends' houses and things like that, would I ever open the door unannounced because they knew I was coming over? But in general circumstances, as an adult, like, I hate opening David's door without, he just does it. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to just stand out here on precedence. I prefer to knock or ring the doorbell of other human beings' homes as an adult. Because,
I knock, I open the door and say, knock, knock.
Well, you do that, I guess.
But does anyone named Knock Knock live there? Because,
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Who goes there? Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Okay,
Boom, boom.
but so is it Mashiro or Mashiro?
Inoue?
Yeah.
Mashiro Inoue? I think that's what it was. Mashiro.
And obviously, I assume that they chose the name Inoue as a nod to the writer since he's done a few.
Maybe. I mean, it is a common name.
it could also be, done in a way you could understand.
Or maybe it's because Tachibana is the smith in Japanese. I'm wondering if Inoue is the Johnson. Oh, don't you dare!
All right, so
She said the name. She done said the name. You know what done set me off? Oh, she's gonna hit me with her face. Oh, she's gonna hit me, but I'm gonna tickle her. I'm gonna tickle you. And yes, this is a consenting adults. Don't call you HR.
I am HR.
Oh, well then you
I'm like Pam from HR. Ooh, damn, that was almost a
bad touch. Oh, you almost genuinely hit me on that.
because.
all right. Anyway,
Oh,
ignoring the peanut gallery,
Oh, the touchy
Let's see.
that we.
can I just cover them up?
What?
There we go. So
Are you a pirate? You just put it on iPad. Yar, me hearties.
Can you open it up? That looks so dumb.
We be outside your field of vision. Arr. Oh, shiver me timbers and tickle me Kelly.
this is why I blacked you out the first time.
I can black out just fine myself. All I
But-
need is enough booze to do
Well,
it.
we've got people are just mysteriously doing random things.
I wanted to see somebody do the Olympics breakdancing.
I just figured everyone became an online RPG with a bunch of NPCs.
I kind of wondered that. Like, are we going to now pretend this is not Earth?
But then we find out that that Niev used the scientists, I forget his name, from Suga from
Like sugar?
a billion episodes ago.
Sure feels that way.
Well, you're the one who was like, oh, it's got to be that scientist because of his chin.
Yeah.
It's like Silverquill with the follicle profiling.
Yeah, but it's like, Kaiju. What can you tell me from my second chin or possible third?
Well, when
Oh, sorry, I meant to hit him.
Well, that makes it all right then.
well, when you read comic books for decades, and the most defining feature of a hero's secret identity is this area, because their masks do not cover that area. You end up recognizing, okay, that's what their chin looks like. They're distinguishable by their chin.
By the hairs on his chinny chin.
So
It's a bat chin.
that's how I just come to like recognize certain characters.
So if I put everybody behind a curtain, like everybody we know behind a curtain, put them all at the same level so you couldn't tell height.
Yes.
And just uncovered their chin, you would be able to accurately name every single person.
Actually, if you just put our heads in profile and silhouette, you could probably tell.
That's disturbing.
Although in our case, it would be unique because one,
well,
no, hear me out now. Yeah, one friend would just keep interrupting all the time.
silhouette.
Another friend would talk, but you would never have no idea what he's saying. Another friend would talk, and you'd just be afraid he'd use up all the oxygen in the room. And then one of us would make puns a lot. That would be me.
Well, silhouette wouldn't work because you can't see the defining features of the chin.
A very defining feature like this.
Yeah, Hitchcock.
Well, like how the hair is shaved on the chin, and the not wrinkles, but
chin curls or laugh lines,
whatever,
dimples,
all those.
All of those. Wow.
Ley lines.
You know a lot about. Wow, I can't even. Biology.
I'm not a biologist.
Cheek structure. Ooh, can we get you into mortuary sciences?
Oh my God. I would be terrified if he started cutting up dead bodies. Because I would have so many of those canisters around the house with random body parts. I might be goth. I might like horror. I might also enjoy murder porn / true crime. That does not mean I want real life body parts outside of the plastic anatomical skeleton that I want.
I just picture Kaiju. Like, what if I told you about bringing your work home?
Okay, but we have our Cookie Monster rider.
Oh,
we've got Jeep is really upset now that Glota's dead.
Yeah, apparently, despite wanting to stick it to Longo, now carrying the weight of so many dead siblings.
I mean,
that he's responsible for through events. Because if he didn't bring his toxic in-laws, then Longo wouldn't have been put in the position that he was in. Not that he was a great Granu or anything. I can't say human being, but
so the A games said, which I do agree, the henshin sequence of all three of them together was pretty awesome.
No, I loved your comment.
Can you turn it down? I can't hear what the villain's saying. There's so much screaming of these ultimate forms.
I actually think of the scene. I don't know if it was Garfield Spider-Man or Holland Spider-Man when he's talking to somebody in the back alley and they're loud because of fighting or what have you. And then all of the neighbors in New York City hang out.
Oh, that was Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Because that's when he
hits the car alarm.
The carjacker. Or the carjacker, which turned out that was the guy's actual car. And yeah, that's when all the neighbors start arguing because Stan Lee is in that scene.
Because they're all yelling to be quiet. And so that's all I thought when you said that is just all those crotchety old adults yelling at each other.
You kids with your super forms.
See,
I barely get 40 days arrest.
That's why I know Rear Window can't be in New York City because everybody's so quiet in that apartment complex.
Well, who knows what the 50s were like? And anyway,
it's New York.
And stop interrupting Silver Quill.
Yeah,
your name is not Advent Nebula.
You interrupted him?
No, he was actually starting to talk after I talked.
Yes, and besides that, you're not the friend who does all the interrupting. He's not here tonight.
No.
But he knows. He knows what he did.
Okay.
So, any more comments I can misread?
Well, we have Cookie Monster takes over
Cookie Monster
takes over
Honko.
Honko, and the episode ends.
C is for cookie. Cookie is for me. C is for cookie. I don't know the entire song. I like Cookie Monster.
Well, here's Adam Watkins, aka Adam W.
Hello.
So once Kamen Rider Z's henshins, his belt turns into a cross body bag on his chest. Who is this person? I do not know this Kamen Rider.
This is for the rumors for the new one.
Oh, okay.
What? Is it going to be like a fanny pack? Or I heard it's called a belly bag or something.
What?
Because people wear fanny packs like back in the 80s, but they call them something different now so they can be not stupid.
All I know is I'm forever going to think of a fanny pack as a ground nuked mouth.
Well, let's see. A Games 10 love the trio henshin in 41 for the main fight sequence. What he does think is a missed opportunity was when the cloak figure asked a civilian to dance. They should have had the person start flossing because, candy.
What's flossing?
Oh,
Okay.
it's
No, he didn't instruct her to dance well.
All I know is that she was dancing like a white person.
Oh, and A Games 10, I gotta disagree with you here. I think you guys forgot to mention the ending to episode 40. Loda's still struggling, but a bit alive. But someone, surprise, shows up, which is
Longo. Yeah, we mentioned
John
that.
Cena.
oh.
What's John Cena got to do with this?
Apparently, John Cena will just randomly appear and you play his theme song. But we did talk about that. And
That's is
Not
rumored
John
to be about an agency that the main protagonist goes to people's dreams while they're sleeping.
Oh, so they're basically
Freddy Krueger.
dream angels.
Ooh.
They're Freddy Krueger.
Kamen Rider Freddy. Henshin.
Okay, I will say, if they do not have a crazy ass glove on a character when they're henshining, kind of like what they did for what was his name, Michi in Geats, where he had the zombie hand. I thought it was.
No, it wasn't Mitch. It wasn't Michi. It was Bufa.
Bufa. I thought his name was Michi.
Yeah.
Was it? I'm thinking of Michizane from Gaim. This is where it gets kind of hard with Kamen Rider. You watch it long enough, and people have shared names, and you're like, "Well, great. Now, who's your favorite Michi?"
Bitchy.
There we go.
Well, I want a Kamen Rider Bob.
Kamen Rider Bob. Bob.
All right. So
Bob.
we had another solid set of episodes.
Junko is proving once again that she actually knows what she's doing for a series that is not Sentai related.
Especially with villains.
Yes. I kind of feel like she might do what you'd mentioned for a series for Die Ranger in your review, where you mentioned that certain episodes were written by other writers. I'm wondering if she took that opportunity to have other writers on her team write different characters or
Actually, no. She's written, of the 41 episodes, if I recall, she's written like 36 of them.
Maybe Kamen Rider is her way to go. Well, right now, she has a few episodes still to fuck it all up. So
yeah.
Isn't it sad that you can start great and end poorly, but you can never start poorly and end great?
Yeah, you can.
Can you maintain an audience while doing so?
Shows have done it before. Kamen Rider Blade did it for most people.
Okay. You know the effect Kamen Rider Blade had.
Tachibana.
Well, now, what am I supposed to do? Now I got to tickle you. I got to do. You feel this? You know. Hello, Marcus. I'm your friend, Righty. Ignore that left-right propaganda.
On that note,
Kiss me.
thank you all for watching. If you are watching it, the fuck?
Oh, it took a minute to get in there.
I was gonna say, wow, hubby, you just honestly, the fact that you did not catch that immediately and it stopped you from going completely off.
With tongue.
Tongue. Get it? Glota, longo, tongue. Ha 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 ha. You're about to lose that tongue.
You got a real pretty mouth, boy.
You should say that with a southern accent.
Y'all got a real pretty
No.
mouth, boy.
No wrong. Like, y'all got a real pretty mouth, boy. But anyway.
Oh, God. Please move on.
Now I lost my thought.
Okay.
I have broken them.
Click.
I have broken everyone.
Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else, YouTube. Whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us.
Wait,
you
they're
can,
watching it on Twitter?
you can support us on Patreon and Bluesky at Toku AAN Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami. The website is creativitybydesign.lc.com. There's Kaiju no Kami merchandise you can buy that should be linked directly on YouTube. There's also a couple of GoFundMes to help the channel survive for 10 years and one for health purposes. Those are in the description below. And there's
me, MLP Silver Quill, on YouTube, DeviantArt, and Twitter. You can find links to support my works there.
There.
And tomorrow it starts Fan Expo Denver. So if you see us there, come say hi. I know the people on right now don't live anywhere near this area, which is also cool. And
Well, we might be in a state near you, not as a stalker, but we could potentially go to a convention in your state.
well, we'll be at Ranger Stop in November. So hopefully some of you will be there. And they just announced Ginga Pink is coming to Ranger Stop. And until next time, bye.
I'm so happy you've moved on from literally hitting everyone to
You're so pretty.